Hi everybody, and welcome to the video demonstration of the animated web banner assignment using GreenSock GSAP. So how do we get started? The first thing that we need to do is take a look at our storyboards and figure out which design elements that we need to have individually separated. In this case, looking at this set of storyboards, um, it says, hey you, sitting at your desk, dreaming of somewhere else. So I need to have my text, my background, and my airplane. How you look at this animation is that it's a frame by frame animation and how things transition in according to time. So I'm looking to have my individual elements separated out, and you'll just put this into your images folder. So I might have a couple of different backgrounds because it looks like the background changes, the text changes. I need a button, I need an airplane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate out those individual design elements and put those into my images folder. So here's my background. Here's my other background, here's another background, and here's my plain image. The text, of course, I'm just going to type right into the Dreamweaver page, so I'm not really worried about that. So to get started, you set up your root directory like you normally would. That's going to house your HTML page, your CSS folder, your images, and a JavaScript folder. So I'm going to go back into Dreamweaver. I made a new document already. And I am going to copy and paste from the GreenSock website the information that I need to know. So you're going to go to greensock.com, GSAP. You're going to click on Get Started. And then you're going to scroll down under the heading of Loading the GSAP files. And I want to grab this second text box. There's no reason to type it, so just copy it and paste it within the head tags of your document. Okay, so that's the start of it. I'm going to save it to my root directory. And now that I've attached those, some JS files pop up that we're going to rely on to make the animation. Setting up your page is much like just setting up a normal website. So I am going to make a new CSS style sheet. I am going to go ahead and just set it up with the body. I'm going to make it a new style sheet file. And I already have one, so I'm going to just do styles one. I'm going to go ahead and change the background. Apply OK. That's just affecting the background. And then I'm going to set up my CSS that's going to hold everything. So I'm going to say div ID. And the ad that I'm working on is the 300 by 250. I'm going to close that. I like to use IDs. You can definitely use classes if you prefer, but I definitely use IDs. So mine's add. Now for this one, I'm just going to put in the position as relative. And I'm going to give it the width. I'm going to give it the height. And I'm going to hide it. I'm going to hide anything that's overflow. And the reason I'm hiding anything that's overflow is that we are going to use the positioning element of absolute to be able to control where our elements are on our document. So this is our first one. And we can definitely watch as it works on it here. Then I am going to add in my background image. So image, SRC. I'm going to go ahead and browse for it. I'm going to start out with my first image. I'm going to give it a width, whatever it is, and height. And I'm going to also give it an ID as well. Any elements that you want to animate, you need to make sure that you are giving it an ID so that we know what to reference. So then there's my background image. And same with this text, so I'm going to do PID. I'm going to do frame 1 text. I haven't done anything with it yet, but so okay, according to the storyboards, it says hey you, so I'm going to just roll with that for right now. I'm going to come back over here. So our first one that we need to address is we are going to give our background, so it's going to be background 1 because that's what I gave the ID. And I'm just going to give it a position absolute. So anything that I'm going to animate, I'm going to give it a position of absolute. And then we have frame 1 text. Now, here's the tricky part out of this, is the position that we're giving it is the position that we want it to start in. So if you want it to start out of screen, you probably will have to go some sort of negative value to keep it out of the screen. So I'm going to say position absolute, maybe left negative 150 pixels, for instance. Okay, some of these you may need to adjust as you go along and adjust the values and the placement after you get it working. So then I'm going to say opacity, I want it to be 0. So then that will have, you won't see anything visibly. It's going to be off screen and an opacity of 0%. So now I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to make my JavaScript file. So I'm going to say JavaScript create. The first thing I need to tell it is about being on load. So I need to grab that code really quick. And all of my animation is going to be in this particular function. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to put it in my JavaScript folder. I'll call it animated. I'm going to come back to my index file and I need to link it. So back in my source code, I'm going to add in link. Well, actually, I'm going to add script, sorry. Script, SRC, I'm going to browse for it. I'm going to go ahead and open it. Type text/JavaScript. Okay, so then that's going to link my animated.js to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a series of variables that are going to pull from my page. So the first one, I'm going to not do actually anything with my background in this particular background. but I am going to create some variables for it. And I need to create some variables for this frame 1. And remember that I'm using all IDs. And the IDs is how they know, how the code knows to pull that particular ID. So now I'm going to do var, let's say frame1 text var equals, it should be document get element by ID. And then this is where I'm going to tell it that I want that variable to be represented by the frame1 text variable. And everything that you want to animate, you should be doing the same thing. So var bg1 var, because I might want to animate that document get element by ID, quote bg1 quote, and JavaScript always ends by a semicolon. If you don't have a semicolon, it's actually going to produce an error. So now I'm going to add this tween light dot two parenthesis. Then I tell it what I want it to animate. So I want it to animate my frame1 text var. Okay, so what it's actually going to be referencing is my ID frame1 text. This tells it how many seconds for the animation. Then it tells it the placement. So where do I want it to be at the end? After 2 seconds, where should it stop? Okay, so I'm just actually going to copy this over. Now it is giving me an error. Okay, so it looks like my variables. So this is the position that it wants to be at the very end. So if I preview this in Firefox, so previewing it then in Firefox will bring in my text. So this is the top and the left. So what you'll end up doing is once you have that animation done, is that you will then could adjust this. So I could adjust it to be 25, top 10. And this will fly this in that particular position that I've asked it to. So that's how you control where that placement of the animation is. And to continue building on then is I want to add the next text. So I would use my variable. This would be frame2 text. I always just copy and paste so it makes it easier to change. And then you make the delay more so that it will come after that particular one. So like let's say 2.5. And it's all about changing the time and the placement so that it will continuously just build on top of each other.